As President Trump is ramping up for his 2020 campaign, the US economy has taken a turn for the worse.
Joining us now to talk through the tumultuous world of US politics is Bruce Wolpe, Senior Fellow at the US Studies Centre. Welcome, Bruce. Nice to see you in the studio after being overseas. Let's start off with the breaking news. Jeffrey Epstein's death has been ruled a suicide.
Yes, the medical examiner concluded that he committed suicide in his jail cell. Hopefully this will put an end to most of the conspiracy theories about it. It was somewhat ambiguous. It does not answer the question, why was he left alone? How was he able to commit this act in one of the most high security prisons in New York City? El Chapo is there, and this should not have happened, a miscarriage of justice. The women will not get justice in a courtroom. So a terrible situation, but hopefully this conspiracy theories will go away.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories to one side, as you mentioned, like he was supposed to be checked on every 30 minutes. This went beyond 3 hours.
It did, and the Attorney General was just furious, William Barr. He was angry, and he said, I want to find out what happened, and it's on his watch. This is a prison under the Department of Justice. So there are still answers to come on a case that has wide-ranging tentacles, as you've said, throughout finance and American society.
So many answers. Now, Bruce, the economy is a recession coming. What does it mean politically?
Well, the bond market, as Bill Clinton learned in the early 1990s, is more powerful than even the Oval Office. The signals from the market are a recession could be coming. I've talked to people, I'm sure you've talked to people, and people are nervous. And the economy has been President Trump's great strength. He had a blowout rally in New Hampshire 24 hours ago, and he talked up the economy. He says, stick with me. Even if you hate me, vote for me, because I'm responsible for your 401ks, your supers, and everything else being up. And so if a recession is coming, that will take away his strongest political advantage, and he sees political risk. He's doing two things. He's attacking the Fed, because he believes the Fed has not lowered interest rates enough, and he has a choice to make on the China trade deal because the markets hate that this trade war is continuing.
He's the king of blaming everybody else. He's very good at all of that.
He takes credit for what he...
Yes, of course. And look, there's all those analogies, like the US gets a cough and the world gets a cold, and that may have changed over the course of time. But with what we saw here with the ASX and that enormous drop, that was a direct correlation to what was happening in the United States.
It shows how interconnected the global economy is. You don't only have this situation with China, you have Brexit going on. Germany close to a recession. The trade war between South Korea and Japan. So China, this can have a depressing effect throughout the world. And so it's not just a cold, it's pneumonia, if in fact it comes true.
Yesterday, Trump used Israel to wage a political fight with two members of Congress. Very strong Israeli critics and the Israeli government at Trump's request denied these two members of Congress visas to visit Israel. What's happening there?
This is a really difficult situation, and it's injected a note of partisan politics into something that has been wholly bipartisan American support for Israel. Trump, you'll recall, a couple weeks ago attacked 4 Democratic congresswomen of Muslim and Palestinian heritage, said they should go back where they came from, and so forth. 2 of them want to travel to Israel. And so the president called up, I think he played a political card, called up the Israeli Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, and he said, you should deny these people entry into your country. They hate Israel, they hate Jews, and it's bad news. And Netanyahu acquiesced. And this is really, members of Congress vote on every dollar of foreign aid that goes to Israel. They vote on every weapons program that goes to Israel. These are 2 members of Congress. The state of Israel, it seems to me, is big enough that they can handle 2 women congressmen who come over and they have views. The views are hostile to the state of Israel. Let's understand that. But to play politics with the role of Congress in visiting an ally of the United States, this is unprecedented, and it's going to have repercussions for a long period of time.
Getting back to Donald Trump and the election that's on the way, and the way that he came into power on the back of the wall and the Rust Belt, and also the huge rural part of the United States of America. He said that we will make your crops thrive. But this is at the heart and the centre of the whole China trade deal, isn't it? If he handles this badly, he will lose so much support.
That's true. But for the moment, the farmers are with him, and he claims credit with them, and he stands up for them and so forth. They think that he is waging a war with China for a good end. If he can deliver it, he'll be rewarded for it. But if it goes on for an extended period of time without resolution, and American farmers cannot export to China or the world because of it, yes, there will be political repercussions. We'll get some first signals of this. The first primary is in Iowa. And so we will see exactly how people turn out and what they're saying. But what you say is a real risk for him as the trade war plays out.
And what about Greenland?
Greenland, who knew?
Some of us buy paddle pop, some of us buy a unit or a house.
Let's buy Greenland.
Yeah, let's buy Greenland.
Okay, I don't think it's going over very well in Greenland. Yeah. Apparently, this has been bouncing around in the Oval Office for some months, and now it's reached critical mass and it's kind of leaking out. I did some figures. The Secretary of State in 1867, William Seward, who survived an assassination attempt on the night that Lincoln was killed, bought Alaska in 1867 for $7.2 million. I did some calculations on what that's worth today. It's about $120 million in today's dollars. Trump is not a big student of history, but he probably knows that we bought Alaska and he wants to do something. So he has not formally articulated it. He's to go to Denmark. I think there's going to be a bunch of ice dumped on this little deal, and I don't think it's going to go very far. But people are enjoying speculation about the future of Greenland. Who knew?
It's hard to dismiss anything in the world that we're living in. Just quickly, how are things looking for Trump's Democratic rivals? They're trying to dump on him. He's trying to dump on them.
It's true, but the person to watch right now is Elizabeth Warren. She is gaining in the polls. She has organizations in the key states. Her policies are hard-hitting. They're finding resonance with Democratic voters. She's on the rise. She's taken over from Bernie Sanders as the leading left candidate. So right now it looks like a Warren-Biden race. Biden under pressure. He's subpar in golf terms as to how he's performing. He makes
doesn't happen often with you and Bruce.
I'm much better. But he's making some mistakes on the campaign trail. Can he last the distance? But Elizabeth Warren, keep your eye on her. She's rising.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Every time you see her, impressive.
And people
commands the microphone, commands the camera.
It's true, but the issue is she too far left to get elected? And that is the real question. But does her ability to cut through and reach people, will they be in a state of mind next year? Okay, she's to left, but we want a strong fighter like her. That's the question with Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, plenty to talk about. We could sit here with a coffee and a...
That's it.
I'm ready to sit in cake and talk all day.
Talk Greenland.
Greenland? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Put some golf courses in there. That's absolutely important. Good to see you, Bruce.
Thank you.